What's up, YouTube? This is Sea-Dog back with another review. This time it's on the Transformers Robots in Disguise Alpine Strike Autobot Drift. And this is him in his packaging. As you can see, we got the nice little art there. It's the same art as the original package, and we'll just show you a little bit there. We're going to do some comparisons here. There's the original Drift in Hasbro Deco. And so he does have the same art. Got a little bit of a different kind of photography there. Got the same art there, still the Warrior class. Looking at the back, shows the transformation. I wonder if that's the same. Yeah, basically the same transformation, just done up in different colors. Here, I'll show you. And then, and they have a little bit of a different back. As you can see, they got the lock here in the new one, and the old one has the game. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Well, before I go, I wanted to show off. These are actually at the store, so I saw Starscream, Blastwave. I skipped on Blastwave in hopes that they actually do release a Bludgeon. It's going to suck if I skipped on him, and that's the only one I ever saw, and they never do release a Bludgeon, and I could have used that as Bludgeon, but, you know, I took my chances. Alright, so here he is out of the packaging, and he is actually really cool. One thing I like about this mold is they actually built a little bit of butterfly, so you can get him to do two-handed sword poses. Not that he has wrist swivels or anything, but he does have some inward bend, and he can get two-handed sword poses, so that's really cool. That's something to note. It's the exact same mold as this one, and I know I have all the Takara versions of most of the figures, but I don't have the Takara Drift. He was just a little bit too much more, and I wasn't able to get him through Japan, so I actually skipped out and picked up the Hasbro version, which is not bad. It's actually good. I'm glad I have this Drift first, and then I'm glad I have this one. This one actually looks like the original Drift did, when Drift was made from the IDW comics, I believe it was, in about 2008, I want to say. I actually have the original figure, and maybe I'll get that out for the end of the review, if it is where I think it is. But Takara would actually put details in these little lines. They're like, I think they're blue. The little details right there. They have some more details in here. Some more details on the chest, I believe. And definitely a little bit more on the face. And definitely the beard. I believe there's some details down in here as well. So, missing a few details, but he still looks like Drift from the cartoon. And that is appreciated. He's got blue painted eyes. He's got the red kind of crest. But we're here to check out this figure mostly, so we'll just check this out. One thing that I will say is kind of maybe an issue to some people is it's a tight fit right here, and this is painted red. I believe that's painted red. Yeah, that's painted red on white plastic. So you just want to, you know, not be too worried about it. But I didn't really scrape any paint off or anything like that. I don't really worry about things like that. But let's check out articulation real quick. It's got left to right turn, goes about that far to that far, and he can pull his arms fully out to the side, just about that far, and like I showed you, you can get those nice inward bends, so you can actually get his hands crossed, stuff like that. You can swivel all the way around. He has a bicep swivel, and he has a joint here. But look at another thing I wanted to show is right here, there's a double joint. There's a pin right there. All they would have had to do is just design this a little bit different, and that swivel right here could have been a double. It could have been a double hinge for the elbow. It is a double hinge, but it's a double hinge to do that. But if they had designed it right here, they could have actually designed it to go up in about a 150-degree pose or so. He has some inward bend on his wrist. He has a nice waist swivel. He's got hips that will go out pretty much all the way. Yep, 90 degrees. And go forward 90 degrees as well. See? And then he's got a 90-degree bend at the knee, which is, this is a retool from Bumblebee. And as you remember, Bumblebee's back kibble got in the way. So that's good that they're able to actually, and also this figure uses it as heel supports, which I believe was intended for Bumblebee as well. That just didn't work out. Although I will say that my Takara Bumblebee does have better, it is tooled better, I believe. But that takes care of the articulation. I like that they got the little red details down here, and they have the nice red knee pads, and he looks pretty good. He's got some blue eyes and red bordering all around his helmet. Oh, let's get that back in focus. And he's got some red details up on his shoulders, and he's got a crooked Autobot symbol. If you notice, it's a little bit crooked, and that's kind of irritating. Because I wouldn't even mind it anymore. I don't even mind it with the circle, because I'm just so used to seeing it on the cartoon, not on the actual fit characters, but it comes up in the screen a lot. He's got some red detailing here and here. Looking at the back of him, you can see the front of his car mode, the front of his hood. So that looks cool. And they use nice translucent plastics with some white paint that we'll see more in car mode. We'll take a quick look at, actually, well, we'll just remove the swords and we'll show you. He can hold his swords, no problem. And we'll do that for starts. Oops. There we go. And then I want to show you the two-handed sword pose. Let's see if he doesn't really have the long sword to do it, but yeah, you can get it down long enough to do it. There. See? He can do two-handed sword poses, so that's really cool. Let's just get him nice and posed up for you guys. And there he is. A little bit wobbly there, but it's just because it's my foam thing like that. So looking great. I'm actually really glad I got this figure. I do have Starscream and Stormjet on the way, although a friend of mine, Lunar Fury, check him out on his channel. He does Earth Wars, Transformer Earth Wars. He's a good friend of mine, and he's pretty badass when it comes to Transformers Earth Wars. He's a Decepticon Alliance kind of guy. But he's actually holding Stormshot and Starscream for me, so I didn't pick them up. Although I did stash them at the store just in case, because I've been waiting months, Lunar. But anyways, alright, so let's transform this guy. So we want to remove his swords, and there's a trick with that I don't show you in the instructions that I will show you, just in case you are not aware of it. So what you want to do first is you want to use that double joint that goes up, and we seat the... Why is this not giving me the same... There we go. You want to sit that peg into that peg. So there's a little peg right here, and you want to slot it in there just like that. Alright, you do a 180 with the waist, and then what you do is you come down here and you flip these closed, and then there's a slot right there, and a peg right there, and a peg right there, and a slot right in there. And you slot the little one in first, and then the bigger one, and then you just kind of get it lined up straight. And then we take his head and make sure it's straight, and then you want to flip this up as it's his hood. The next part, there's a peg right here and a slot right in there. And there's a peg right here and a slot right in there. So you want to line up this peg to there first. Like so. And the same thing with this side, the peg in the slot. While taking these and slotting them in like this. So you go slot right in there like that. Last thing, you want to line this up. Oh, yeah, that always happens. And pull this forward on this hinge. Oh, before you do that, I actually screwed up. You can do it one at a time too. You want to take this and you want to flip that forward, and that becomes his hood. And then you want to take these and latch them down. And it really is easier to figure them out at the bottom, because it's bendable plastic, so you can do that. And then you just fit it all together, and there he is in car mode. And you can try to peg it all in and get it all nice and secure in there, but it's really going to kind of depend on... Some places will peg in better than others, and this and that. But for the most part, that's his car mode. You can see everything's pegged in. Now, they don't show you this in the instructions, but if you see there's a slot here on the sword, and there's two slots right here. These actually, I had to figure this out on my own. which I never even knew this with the other drift, because I haven't really used that drift that much yet. Still waiting for my display shelves and stuff. But, like that. And then it works good. He rolls. He's looking great. Looking at the two together, and I will admit that Drift, the original Drift, does peg in better a little bit. He just kind of pegs together better, and I think he's just a little bit different plastic, because this is white plastic, and white plastic's always going to be a little bit less giving for the most part, I guess is the word. It could just be my copy too, who knows? But I mean, it's not bad. He's got a few tabs that could, I think it's just the white plastic. I mean, but if you look at this one, he's got a little bit of that too. He feels a little bit more solid than the white one does. But not to say the white one doesn't feel solid. He's still very solid. He's just a little bit more apart, I guess you could say. He's just harder to keep together. It might be possibly because of the mold. But I also want to show you, see, they both have the swords underneath, and this is what they look like underneath. And, so, they both roll. Although the white one seems to roll better. But, yeah. So, that's what they look like together. This is what he looks like with the original Drift, and as you can see, they are basically the same type of color. A little bit different. This is a little bit more orangey red, and this is more red. I prefer the red, but I do prefer this figure a lot better. This is actually a really cool figure. It's the first Drift they ever put out from the Generations line, I believe in 2008. And the one cool thing is this figure comes in car mode, and all the weapons are stored in the figure already. He's got his swords stored in his sheaths, plus he's got the sword here on the bottom. I believe he's got swords here. Yeah, they're like in the doors or something. I believe. They should be. I can't see them right here. Yeah, I think I can see the hinge right there. But, so that's them in car mode. And here he is with the original Drift in robot mode. And as you can see, quite a bit difference. But I like both of them. But I can't deny that I really like this Drift. And, it's just one of my favorite toys from that year. That and I think Fall of Cybertron Optimus Prime, War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, the original one. That one was a good figure. I believe that was in the same line, wave, like a wave before it maybe. But this Drift's pretty cool. You can go back and watch my review on it. And if it's not in HD, please let me know. If I don't know if it's in HD or not. I don't think so. But please let me know if you want me to redo the review. But he's got these swords. These are already stashed in car mode. He's got one on each side. So that's really cool. And then he comes with his sword that you can see in the comic. This one's bendy. The other ones aren't. But you can get replacements for these. And he's just a really cool figure. He's got lots of detail. Let's see if we can get better view on him. There we go. And that is the original Drift. That is where the movie version came from and everything. But this Drift doesn't look too bad itself. So that's going to be the review. Let me know what you think of the review. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay awesome, stay subbed, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace. I'm out. That's a wrap.